Well, good morning, everybody. As you can read in the description, what I'm going to start to dive into, I've been told by my therapist to document this stuff as far as, telling my story, putting it out there, and doing it in phases, like part one, right? You know, there's always the beginning of the story, right? But then there's always the middle, and then there's always the end. And sometimes the end can be a crashing point to where you basically, you just you lose your mind. You lose everything. You just it just surfaces and you become somebody that you don't want to become. So as you begin to heal and realize that, hey, you know what? Yeah, I've had manic episodes. Yeah, I've had, certain things happen in my life that, has never been addressed, period, point blank. It has never been addressed. So as you can read, Surviving the Missouri Baptist Children's Home. Okay, so when I was 13 years old, I decided that I was going to, be, and do whatever I wanted to do, not realizing that there were consequences for my actions. But what ended up happening to me was very, very tragic. Very, very tragic. I got sent to live with my father here in the state of Missouri. I was going on 14. I lived with him for a little while. And then, some things took place and I ended up being legally kidnapped. Now, you can look this up. I didn't know this for the longest, but being legally kidnapped by CPS of the state of Missouri and placed in very, very abusive, unhealthy situations that were beyond my control. Plain and simple. So my father was murdered in front of me. When my father was murdered in front of me, I was rushed off to the sheriff's department to be questioned. And long behold, for the longest, I didn't even realize that my grandparents wanted me back in their custody. Missouri told them exact thing. This is what they told them. You can't have your grandson back. There has to be an interstate compact. There has to be this. There has to be that. And this is where the hell began. This is where, I don't want to go back into yesterday's live. I'd rather stay in the here and the now and explain a little bit about what happened to me and how it affected me in my life in general. I wasn't one of those teenage kids that got to do basically whatever they wanted. From 14 almost up till 16, I was in fundamentalist movements, the SBC. You could look the SBC up right now, Southern Baptist. I was in foster homes. I was in group homes. I was shuffled all over the state of Missouri. I was shuffled all over the state of Missouri. Every time my mom would try to find me, I'd talk to her maybe on the phone. I'd say out of the whole time that I was in the system, I talked to her on the phone maybe 4 times, maybe. And every time I would talk to her, somebody else would be listening in on the phone conversation. And, I think that there should be more regulation. But, I want to stay to the one topic, and that is surviving this stuff. That is, has to do with what I was dealing with. And today I can sit here and tell you, because I'm not going to lie like others. Yes, I do have mental health issues. Yes, I do deal with trauma. Yes, I do have manic episodes. Yes, I do. I can admit to that. Yes, I needed a medication to help me. Yes, I needed that. Yes, I needed some time away from social media to stop thoughts in my head from just jumbling, and then me to just spew venom at the wrong people, at people that have never done anything to me. So the night my father was murdered, I was placed right directly into a foster home. Right directly into a foster home. From that foster home, I was picked up by a caseworker, and I was brought to a facility in Bridgeton, which is like the St. Louis area, by the name of the Missouri Baptist Children's Home. At this place, I did not realize that I was going to be treated inhumanely, not fed correctly, locked in rooms for hours at a time, made to talk about something bad that I have done, and then basically have a bunch of other kids telling me, well, you should have did this and you probably did that. It's called confession in their eyes. That's what it's called, confession. That's how they believe the confession works, is by beating down and building back up. So I was on several different medications. A ton of medications that I didn't even realize what they were until later on, looking into things. And I found out some of them, and I'll tell you what, it was very hard to, accept, that I needed something to stabilize myself, to keep myself going in the right direction later on in life. But yes, I was locked in rooms. I was forced to read the Bible on a regular basis. If I did not take my medication, there could be, from physical restraints to being locked in a room to being given a medication that will knock you out for days on end. Really nobody that was there working at the time that I can remember, really any of them, they shouldn't have been working around kids. Yes, there was sexual abuse to being taken place. There was a lot of things that were going on. So I'm in this one facility, which is basically a lockdown facility, completely locked down. Like when you walk through the doors, you hear it go, like that locking sound. You hear it. And it's like, oh shit, what's going to happen next? That's where that fight or flight. That's where that fight or flight kicks in. And you say to yourself, oh, this is not humane. This is not normal. Why would people that are here to help me, knowing that I had the trauma I had already, because once my father was murdered in front of me and I seen him laying on the floor, leaking blood out the side of his head, that destroyed me. And I never really dealt with it. I never dealt with it. I always tried to find that escape instead of being face to face with it. And saying, you know what, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. Tell the world the truth. To tell the world that, parents, the system is designed. The system is designed to destroy a child's mind. The system is designed to take that child away from their family and make them hate their family. This is why me and my mother have what is called a love-hate relationship. I love my mother to death, but what was pressed into my head and how I was brainwashed by, if you don't do this, you're going to burn in hell, and you're going to, God doesn't like this, and God this, and God that, and you can't have friends, and you can't have girlfriends, and you're 14 years old, and you're in school, and you're like seeing all these pretty girls, and, you're really wanting to talk, but you're afraid to talk because, hence, right, the system is all connected, even through the schools. So God forbid I say something to somebody else, there's a chance that it might get back to my foster parents. And then I'm placed in my room. I'm made to listen to sermons. I'm made to read the King James Version of the Bible, which is so chopped up. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. The way the Baptists move is disgusting. The way women can't wear jeans. You're going to hell if you wear jeans. This is what is being said. This is what's being said. This is what's being done right now as I tell you this story. There are kids out there right now not knowing if they're coming or they're going. And there are also adults out there like myself who still deal with the trauma, who still never are in their late 30s. Finally, it's a breakthrough And finally, they realize, okay, you know what? I need help. Okay, I really need to work on this so I don't find myself in arguments with other people. And if I can't get along with somebody, then I simply just don't associate with that person. That's it. It's that simple. It's easier said than done, especially when you got all them thoughts jumbling inside your head and you don't have somebody that you can sit there and speak to and tell them what you're really feeling. But so you weren't allowed to listen to regular any kind of music. You weren't allowed to watch television. Like I said, you weren't allowed to have friends. You weren't allowed to go anywhere alone. At 14 years old, my bedtime was 8 o'clock. It was prayers. It was, let me tell you about your mom, how much of a piece of trash she is, how much of a drug addict she is. She doesn't want you. She's never getting you back. And all this stuff. And I sit back today and I think to myself, thank God that my kids don't have to go through that. But you want to know something? Today I know one thing. One thing. I'm a survivor, and I'm here to tell you that. I'm not here to give you a hogwash story. I'm not here to give you a conspiracy. I'm not here. I'm here to talk to you about the story of how Rocko Dylan Fowler survived the Missouri Baptist Children's Home and Foster Care Organization. That is what I'm here for. And the problem with it is the more survivors, which it's very hard to come out and talk about this stuff when you have survived it, because foster care is a very deep subject, because see, you got all these split off different religions, right? You got Mormons, you got Protestants, you got Catholics, you got Baptists, you got Independent Fundamentalist Baptist, you got SBC, which is Southern Baptist. You got these organizations. They're not really, like, to be honest, a lot of this stuff was cult based. It's cult based. Like, I remember being in church and a young lady said something, and a male figure said, women cannot talk inside this church unless they're asked to be, unless they're asked something or they're told that they can speak. That's horrible. That's horrible. That's disgusting. And for whoever, and see, I met good people, and I'm not talking about religion. I've met people that are Christians that have helped me, not hurt me. But while I was in the foster care system, it was state ran, but they threw their religion in there. Look it up. Missouri Baptist Children's Home. Also, another thing. What are they're doing with voting in the foster care system? What do you think they're doing with the voting? Please tell me. They're making children vote so they can continue to run their crooked organizations, their cults, their Cash for Kids act, their fundraising, their whatever it is, right? Their adoption checks, right? All of this stuff ties in together. You have got to go lay down. Go lay down. Okay, well, the bear's not playing. It's not working. It's not working. Anyways, so they're forcing kids, right? Literally, this is what I'm hearing. They're forcing kids to do and sign off on votes so they can get their vote counts up, so they can continue to get what they want. And we, as being survivors, whoever's on here and who's a survivor, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Hands off. Our kids are not for sale. Our kids are not your job security. Plain and simple. That's how simple this gets. So whenever someone says, I'm going to call foster care on you, or I'm going to call CPS on you, that is a dangerous thing to say to somebody, especially if they've been in the system, because they know how crooked, corrupt, and evil the system really is. They don't give two shits about you. All they care about is that paycheck, that money, that payout. If I adopt this guy because Bill Clinton signed off on something talking about that, if I adopt this child, then I'm going to get what they call a bonus check for adoption. So why do you think these people go into people's homes over hearsay stuff? Over hearsay stuff. That is one thing I will say. When I was in the past and whatnot, and things weren't going well with me, but when I heard that, CPS or whatever, somebody said something about CPS to me, and I freaked out. I'm going to be honest. I freaked out because it is a traumatizing thing for me. I was placed into the system unwillingly. I was legally kidnapped. I had family that wanted to pay for my flight that night to bring me back to New York. I was not even a Missouri citizen. I didn't even have an identification card that stated that I was a Missouri citizen. But you know what? I did. I survived. You know what I told the family, right? And I was talking with my mom about this yesterday. Well, the family says to me one night, they're like, we're planning on adopting you. And I'm like, no, you're fucking not. You're not adopting me. And my mom told me that she said something, she heard that I picked a chair up. I don't remember picking a chair up. But I swung it and supposedly hit this man's legs, the foster father's legs. And I said, I ain't fucking going with you. And it never happened. The adoption never happened. But they were trying to illegally adopt me out into another family So that family could collect off of my insurance money, my Social Security money, because when you're in the foster care system, there's the insurance money, there's the foster care money, there's this money, there's that money, there's all this fucking monies, But then when you get out, right, you don't see a lick of that fucking money. And I believe by law that you should have whatever was not spent, which was spent, by the way, which these foster parents, what they do is they actually take money from the child, right? Because, let's face it, people don't realize, like, if you have several kids in one home, right? Say $700 to $800 to $1,000 a day or whatever it is, right? Or $700 a day, $800 a day, that is a lot of money. And then what kills me is how these people can just become a foster parent completely overnight, basically. 3 months and I'll give you, a license to be a foster parent and you can take care of kids now because you went through 3 months of classes, or maybe 4. I don't know how many months it is. I haven't checked into that, but I will be checking into that because now this channel is going to be based on and about my story of being in the corrupt SEEK system in the state of Missouri. And I hope to broaden the range. I hope to bring more attention to this subject. I hope to connect with others that have been in the same situation or similar situation. And the other thing is, also the troubled teen industry. It's horrible what they do in the troubled teen industry. Don't ever listen to a word Dr. Phil says. Don't ever listen to a word Dr. Phil says. Dr. Phil, he needs to take some pills for real. He is funding abusive facilities. He is funding abusive things that go on. Just because somebody says, oh, I can help change your kid, right? Oh, I can change them. No, I can brainwash them. That's their idea. With religion, with some places would make you do labor, like hard manual labor, make you build things, make you do things at an age that, like I seen like 10-year-old kids out there. I seen 11-year-old kids. The age range, it didn't matter. I was in facilities with kids that were like 18 and older, and here I am 15 years old not knowing what to do. In literal jail cells, like. The system is very corrupt. It's very, very corrupt. And it's just sad that survivors are not getting, and I'm not saying that they're not getting, because there is more and more attention. There is definitely more and more attention being brought to the subject. But I don't feel that they're getting enough justice. I don't feel we're getting enough justice. I don't at all. I think a lot of these people, yeah, the place shuts its doors. Yeah, they move to another state. Yeah, they open up another home. Yeah, it's under a different name. Yeah, that stuff happens all the time. And that disgusts me. And they continue to do the same stuff that they were doing to why the reason that they got shut down to begin with. We need more oversight in these places. We need more people to be held accountable for their actions against children. And even in the institutions, I think restraining should be completely taken away, honestly. I think restraining should be, because people don't realize sometimes that you could restrain somebody the wrong way and that person could end up dying. And it happens to kids all the time in the system. Because you got some underpaid, undergrad, freaking all they got is a GED working with children with serious things going on in their head where they're trying to grow, but they're not able to grow because they're now being controlled. Think about that. Just think about that. And then later on in life, they're dealing with issues with other people, and they can't, associate with others in a normal way. They can't, hold jobs. They can't stay in relationships. They can't keep friendships. They're always in arguments. That is because of what the damn system on a lot of this, there's a lot of people out there that, and I'm including myself, that will go group to group looking for a validation when really, if you have your own YouTube channel, get on there and voice your opinion. Our children are not for sale. Hands off. Hands off. It's that simple. Stop trying to, make it fit your narrative. Stop trying to say, oh, and God this and women this, and they can't wear, jeans to church, or, they're going to end up burning in hell. No, you're going to burn in hell for the rape, the torture, the mental abuse that you have done to other people, such as myself. And I speak as a survivor proudly. So to all the survivors out there, just know one thing: you are no longer a victim. You are a survivor. Andrea says, I was raised in a strict Southern Baptist home. It's tough. Well, yeah. And it's also tough when you are in the foster care system and, you're being told that your mother doesn't want you. She hates you. um, all different kinds of things, all different kinds of things, all different kinds of tactics, because uh, you know, it's the church wants to make so much money. I met people like you. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I don't know. Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, because it was like, okay, so another thing, right? I was in a the one home. It was in uh Springfield area. It was, I'd say, Mount Vernon, Springfield, Missouri. And I was forced baptized because I was told if I did not get baptized the Baptist, that I was going to burn in hell and I would have demons around me for the rest of my life. Yeah. And that nobody would want me as a foster child to be in their home. There was a lot of trafficking in the Midwest in the 80s via adoption and foster. Okay, so I'm 36. I was, what's it, 14. And that means, yeah, exactly. It stimulated the economy, but it also stimulated evil people's pockets, is what it did. People that are on the web right now talking about how good of people they are, how good of organizations they are, but nobody can read in between the lines. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. Um, I said, dude, I was raised by my brother and sister. Right. They got you as a commodity and manipulated your mind and cremated. Uh, Commodity, yes. If anybody listens or has a chance, type in Nancy Schaefer. She was a Senate who actually lost her Senate seat because she wrote, I want to say, in a thesis or a report about the corruption in the foster care system. Not long after that, her and her husband's life was taken, and she lost her seat in the Georgia Senate. So this stuff is real. This stuff is as real as the day goes long. Yeah, they did. But the one thing I like about her is she was straightforward with it. She didn't go around anything. No, she made it clear that our kids are being turned into merchandise. It's and it's unfortunate that parents these days, and I'm a parent myself, right? And I would never, even if my daughter cursed at me every day and threw things at me, and just because, oh, maybe she has one of my daughters has autism. So parents, if you're going to have kids, raise the kids. That's what I'm learning, is my kids come before anything else in my world. So if it's my last $5 in my pocket and my kids need something, they're going to get it. Now, am I going to send my children away because they go out and they hang out and they kiss a girl? Or am I going to send my kids away because they go out and they, experiment with drugs? Am I going to send my kid? No, I'm not going to, because you know what? I'm not going to give the government a lick of my money. They've already taken money from me as a child that belonged to my father because it was his pension. And then you find out later on that the guy that was going to get 25 years to life for killing my father only got 7 years. I also have a child on the spectrum. It's a child. One thing I can say about having a child, yeah, mine's on the spectrum as well. So it's not like, she's very smart. For a 4-year-old, she's very smart. What I have a tendency of doing is, it was prevalent with the pastors, the closest game is, well, yeah, but I'm trying to answer that question for you. Yes, high functioning. Yes, she's very high functioning. What I've learned is, if she gets upset, don't, if she doesn't want to be bothered, I walk away. I'll walk away for a while, and until she comes to me. I allow that. I don't try to pressure myself onto my kids. I don't try to do that. She loves, my one daughter's 3 years old, and for Christmas, it came in the mail. It's pretty funny. Yeah, because sometimes, yes, it can be a very, very challenging place. It really can. And sometimes I find myself blaming myself for a lot of things, that really are not my fault. But that goes back to what happened in my system. Did you have help, or are you single? I am best friends with my children's mother. We've had our ups, we've had our downs. But yes, I'm a very supportive father. I wasn't there for a while because I couldn't get out of my own head. And that was the problem, was being stuck in my own head. That's where I was kind of, a little out to lunch. Yes, absolutely. Got to be on the same page for the babies. Absolutely. I can tell you one thing today. Yes, I do have a therapist. I do have a therapist. I'm also on some medications now. I'm leveling out a lot more. Is that to say that I have my bad days and then my really good days? No, I have really horrible, horrible days. I have days where I have to remove myself from everything, everybody. I am sharing my story um, because I feel that others out there need to hear me, um, hear others. We are survivors, like I said. And I feel more people need to come forward. And I feel that the more people hear these types of things and these stories, and, sometimes it might help that person figure out one thing I could say might help another person, figure something out with themselves. And, it's just a message of experience, strength, and hope, and, that nothing, you know, I'm learning there's times where you just gotta like take the bat and put it down and stop beating yourself in the head and, blaming yourself for everything. And, you know, you know, being selfish is an okay thing, right? In a sense of being selfish to help yourself heal. Um, Now, being selfless is kind of what I'm doing now. Is I'm spreading a message of experience, strength, and hope, hoping that those out there sick and suffering in silence will be able to connect and will be able to get on YouTube and say, you know what? I'm going to do this too. I'm going to start speaking out too. There's many people out there speaking out. Many, 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 many people are speaking out. If you know about the IFB movement, which is the Independent Fundamentalist Baptist, I implore you right now to go over to HBO Max if you have it and watch the 4-part or the 2-part series. Let Us Pray. Pray spelled Prey. And these women that got on there and spoke and told their truths I give 100% credit to 100%, because it is very hard to expose your abuser, especially on a public forum like that, especially network. We're not talking about just YouTube. We're talking about HBO Max. We're talking about it was live on air on ID Discovery. It played live on there. Oh yeah. I was on Zyprexa. I was on lithium. I was on Depakote. I was on uh, what's the other one? Seroquel 3 times a day. Uh, and then it got to a point where I was in one facility and I took a cup of meds and I literally threw the cup in the garbage and said, I ain't taking this shit. And one of the staff members grabbed me by my arm and I said, get your hand off of me. You're not my dad. Now, see, that's where the fight or flight thing came in. And somebody had asked if I had ran. Oh, yeah, I ran from 2 different places. But as soon as you're caught, your butt goes right back. Yes. They so they wanted to keep you docile because you were free thinking. Well, I don't know about the free thinking. I think what it was is they wanted me to forget about my real family so they could, yeah, also keep me docile, but also just so they could continue to get a paycheck off of me. Well, I mean, who wouldn't be rebellious? I mean, um, yeah, there were kids that did follow rules to a T. Um, I am spiritual. I am very spiritual. As of now, of course, but I don't get involved with anything Baptist, Catholic. I I try to stay away from that type of stuff. Well, I actually got when my mom found me, I had 2 black eyes. I had bruised ribs. I was 16 years old, and I weighed, I'd say, about 110 pounds. And yeah, I had bruised ribs, 2 black eyes. Um, so my mom had to literally come to Missouri and remove me, you know, basically kidnap me back because the system told my mom, I'm not giving you any, I'm not, no, we want him back. No, we want him back. And my mom was like, well, that ain't happening. He is going home with me today. Listen, Andrea said, have you ever heard of David Icke? Yes, I have heard of David Icke. I don't follow David Icke. I never have. I don't think I might have heard him on an interview or something, but I try to, I mean, there's a lot of PD Wheatstraw. I feel you're spitting the truth 100. Thank you. It's this simple, right? Is if each state said, hey, you know what? We need more oversight here. We're hearing that this is going on. Why are these kids so zombied out on medications? Why are they on 10 medications a day? Okay, like, and sometimes more than one time a day. Like in my case, I got Haldol a couple of times. Um, I got a few different things, and Yes, they do treat the kids like prisoners, and yes, the pharmacies are getting rich, and they are uh, connected with the foster care system and the system in general, because that's their easy target. Because you know obviously they're going to always say that, your kid has these mental problems. We can fix them. We can fix them. No, 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 no. No, you can't fix them. But what you do is you destroy them even more. So then here's where this part comes in. I was told when I was in foster care, you will end up in prison. You will end up in prison. And guess what happened? Guess what happened? I ended up in prison. That man is not going to sell itself. Well, well, I mean, I don't remember being on any of those. I don't feel that I was on any of those. But like, what we need to do is there is, I don't know if anybody's familiar with this, but there is a bill that they're trying to pass. I think it's a pretty big bill. I don't know if it's going to work out. Something about Stop Child Abuse Act in institutions. So if you come across it and there's a petition where you can sign, please sign the dotted line. Sign the dotted line so we can get this shit stopped. So we can have kids being treated the way they're supposed to be treated. Not having religion shoved down their throats. Not getting into that, not doing that to a child, not destroying a child's mind. And then later on in life, that child has issues as a grown adult. That's the other piece to all this. As this follows you into society. But we need to stand up and we need to fight for our children's rights. And that's it, plain and simple, straight to the point. And we need to put these dirty, nasty animals in prison cells where they belong. And then the sheriffs that lied to me and said to me, if you're still alive, I hope you hear this. The night my father was murdered, and this is for the Gainesville Police Department, Sheriff's Department, whatever you want to call it, you lied to me. You said my family didn't want me because I was a troubled teen. No, you legally kidnapped me, is what it's called, but it should be illegally kidnapping. and you placed me with strangers in less than 24 hours. After my father was murdered. So, oh man. Oh man. Yeah. You know what? These fucking animals need to be put away. Pastors, stop putting your hands up girl skirts. Pastors, be honest with yourself. And at Hammond today, I believe it's Hammond, Indiana, there's a big protest going on at the First Baptist Church, I believe it is. And I hope, and I pray that you put your head down and you feel every bit of pain and suffering that you put those women through, whoever you are. And for those of you out there threatening these poor women, should be thrown in a jail cell too. Why is it okay for you to do what you do, but then when these women come forward and they get that real airtime on HBO Max, where it is, it's called Let Us Pray. What's the matter? Is this going to make your court date or court case more horrible? Because the real truth is coming forward. Finally, people are waking up and realizing, oh, Johnny, said he was beat or he was molested by this priest, but we don't want to believe him. So let's take him to a psychiatric center and get him checked. Maybe he's just making this stuff up. No, parents, no. People do not make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. It's real as the day goes on. It is real. How about let's take you parents that put your kids in these homes and allow them to be abused for years. But you're paying $1,500 a month for your child to be abused. How about we set up an organization where we can, send the parents Yeah, but it's getting to a point now, Andrea, that more and more people are coming forward. More and more people are coming forward, and I honestly feel that people need to come forward. Don't be afraid. If you survived any type of abuse, there's plenty of groups on Facebook. There's plenty of interviews on YouTube. There's plenty of people out there that have been through these horrible situations. And then there's mothers and there's fathers that had to fight against the system to get their children back. So, any ideas? Well, what you get or what you want and what you get are two different things. So, more power to you, Dr. Doolittle. Salute. No, there are women that are really. That's neither here nor there, Andrea. That's just I don't know who this person is, and I'm answering comments that are positive comments. I'm not gonna drudge up other stuff that there's no need to drudge up, and that's that. Look, man, I don't think you get it. Okay, I guess I let you go on as much as you wanted, so there you go. Enjoy. See ya. See you later. Hey, you're not coming off ignorant at all. You're not. Uh, I deal with threats on a regular basis because I speak the fucking truth, plain and simple. And they don't like that. They don't like that. The truth needs to be heard. People need to come forward and they need to speak about the abuse that was done to them. Who cares about these animals? Wouldn't you like to see these animals in orange suits in front of a judge being handed a sentence? And you getting the proper, help that you need and the support that you need? The only way you're going to get that is if the truth is spoken. And there's more than one thing going on out there than just this. There's plenty of topics, but this is one of my main things to get across to as many people and scream it from the rooftops. First and foremost, thank goodness that Agape got what it deserved. Agape's doors have been shut. You got Circle of Hope Girls Ranch. The doors to that place were shut. You got Missouri Baptist Children's Home, where we're working on it right now to get its doors shut. Every fucking place where they're doing this stuff needs to be shut down. The only way we're going to shut it down I actually was going to buy a larger microwave today, but now I'm here and I'm stuck. I'm listening to you. You're speaking nothing but the truth. Well, um, to answer your question about do I have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ? Hey, a lot of things are bad, right? I mean, unfortunately, you can't stop everything. Yep. I use the oven quite a bit. Little one's sleeping. All right, I'm gonna play a video if it works. Talking about this. Hold on. Let me see something here. That's cool. Nancy Schaefer. Tell me if you can hear this.
My name is Nancy Schaefer, and I'm from the state of Georgia in the United States. And thank you for your gracious invitation to join you tonight. And thanks to all of you who have made this incredible World Congress of Families #5 in Amsterdam possible. It's a privilege for me to join you tonight and to be with you in some pro-family policy here. I will share with you on the unlimited power of Child Protective Services. I served in the Georgia State Senate, and after 4 years of viewing the ruthless and unsparing actions of Child Protective Services, also called CPS, which I will use tonight, I wrote a scathing report entitled "The Corrupt Business of Child Protective Services." Thank you. The report cost me my Senate seat. Here's some copies of the report if you'd like to get one. However, there are causes worth losing over, and this is one. I'm going to talk about some of the problems and then some realistic, maybe, solutions for families and children, and maybe look to some steps that we can take. This is not to say that there are not those children in wretched situations who need to be removed. There are, and we all agree. But tonight, I'm talking about those children removed from their homes intentionally for profit. children are seized unnecessarily from their families due to the federal aid created in 1974 entitled the Adoption and Safe Families Act. It offers financial incentives to the states that increase adoption numbers. To receive the adoption incentives or bonuses, local CPS must have more children. They must have more merchandise to sell. Funding is available when a child is placed in a foster home with strangers or placed in a mental health facility and medicated, usually against the parents' wishes. Parents are victimized by the system that makes a profit for holding children longer and bonuses for not returning children to their parents. This is abuse of power. It is lack of accountability, and it is a growing criminal political phenomenon spreading around the globe. Oftentimes, but not always, poor parents are targeted to lose their children because they do not have the wherewithal to hire an attorney or fight the system. Being poor and lacking proper housing does not mean your children should be removed.
No.
CPS has redefined poor to psychologically inferior. Therefore, it is in the best interest of the child to be removed. Best interest, of course, has also been redefined at the child's expense. It has been reported over and over that 6 times as many children die in foster care than in the general public. Once a child is legally kidnapped and placed in official safety, the child is far more likely to suffer abuse, including sexual molestation and or rape. Case workers and social workers are often guilty of fraud. They withhold and destroy evidence, and they seek wrongly to terminate parental rights while being protected by state immunity. There is a huge bureaucracy made up of judges, court-appointed attorneys, guardian ad litems, social workers, state employees, court investigators, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, foster parents, adoptive parents, and on, who are looking to the children in state care for their job security. Judges have control over private living arrangements and income of 48.3 million Americans. The United States Census Bureau reported in 2002 that 40 billion in transfer payments were made between households of custody parents and other parents. That money, 40 billion, is under the direction and control of family court judges in environments covered with confidentiality laws that protect the wrong people. Fathers are victims of this unjust system. Child support payments, even without having visits with their children, are choking the very life out of fathers. 3 fathers, of whom I am aware and have been in touch with, committed suicide in the last 12 months because they lost the opportunity to even visit with their children. These are crimes against humanity for financial gain.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. I hope you're doing good as well.
Human rights, civil rights, and even religious rights. One illustration of what took place in my district is that after so many calls, I decided to call a meeting in one of the counties of my own district. I personally called 37 families that had been in touch
Same with you,
had
man.
all lost their
Same.
children.
I hope you have a good holiday.
I had them meet me in the library one Saturday morning. We started at 9 o'clock and we ended at 9 o'clock. We had 50 families standing outside the door that could not get in. We didn't have time to talk with them.
I remember that.
There was incredible anguish and profound suffering from these families. Some children had been taken off the school bus, taken out of the hospitals, or taken out of their homes in the middle of the night, and even worse. It was just an incredible ordeal. These parents, trapped in the system, become like refugees. They're dazed and glazed and have no one of whom to turn. They do not know what to do, and the loss of their children is devastating.
Yeah.
After having worked in this arena for several years, I do not believe that a single child comes out whole after having been in this system.
Nope.
Many foster children make up the homeless population of today. I introduced legislation, Senate Bill 415, in my last session. A substitute bill was written at the last minute by the chairman of the Judicial Committee. All the strong points of my bill had been compromised. I was told, accept it, Senator. At least you will get some legislation passed. And I answered with, obviously, you do not know me. I did not come to the Capitol to get legislation passed. I came to make a difference.
No.
What can be done? An independent audit should be called on every state of all Child Protective Services departments. I'm in touch with congressmen and state officials, and the door may be possibly opening very slowly. A federal congressional hearing is needed. But let me add, due to the hundreds upon hundreds of cases that I've been called to consider, I placed calls to state senators, representatives in their respective states of the country, asking them to help me with certain families.
Yeah.
And I was told, if I help that family, or if I help you, I will lose my job.
It's
abolish the federal
Nancy Schaefer
incentives, and those are taxpayer dollars. Those dollars have turned CPS into a business that takes children and separates families for money. Open family court. Remove the confidentiality laws. Give parents their rights verbally and in writing. I even feel that to terminate the rights of parents, the case should be heard before a jury. Family rights and parents' rights must be protected.
Yep.
We do not need more influence like the UN's Convention on the Rights of the Child. It's anti-parent, anti-child, and anti-common sense for the family.
Yeah.
There has to be perseverance for any great reform. And great reform is needed in this area.
Very much so.
As Charles Spurgeon put it, how do you tame a lion that is well fed? First, he must be brought down. Second, his stomach must be lowered. How do you tame Child Protective Services? It may be only by closing it completely and starting over at the beginning with pro-family values.
That's right.
In closing, let me remind you that there is case law from state appellate and and federal
That's
district
right.
courts,
Reset.
and up to the United States Supreme Court, all of which affirm the constitutionality of the rights of parents to actually be parents to their children.
Yes.
There's biblical law too. It goes like this: speak up for those who can't speak for themselves.
That's right.
And for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly.
Yep.
Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. She can't put it she couldn't, like, RIP to her. But her and her husband were actually found dead. I believe it was 2 weeks after she did this speech. Yeah, they were, yeah, I'm not going to use the word because you know how YouTube is. Oh, man. Well, yeah. PD Withdraw says if 70% of the population are drunkards and people that do not pay their bills and speak foul of other human beings, I agree with her. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But the sad part is when you come out of the foster care system, your way of interacting with others sometimes, because you've been like isolated from people basically, and you're used to like being and to school was like right below the facility that I actually was housed in. It was right downstairs. The way they taught you was to hate your own, family. Oh God, yeah, man. It's been for years. It's been for years. But I mean, this is kind of like we either got to do it state by state, right, or we got to get it all the way around everywhere. Oversight needs to happen. Oversight needs to happen. There needs to be more oversight. The qualifications need to be more. Things need to be changed. The whole system needs a reset, complete reset, complete reset. And I feel if we do a complete reset, we might actually get somewhere, in this world of what is left, unfortunately, because it's ran by the evil. So, I mean, every time you get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to finally, finishing something off, right? Especially when it comes to this type of stuff, because every case is different. But when you start going into foster homes and there's kids that are from California, that are from Texas, that are from Georgia, you start thinking to yourself, I'm in Missouri. Why are all these kids from like, California, Texas, this place, that place? Why are they even in foster care in the state of Missouri? See, with that, with like the talking about God and everything, yeah, I believe in a God of my understanding. Do I really go into that? No, because there's a lot of people that can sometimes, you know, distract them from actually getting help, because dealing with religious trauma is difficult, is very, very difficult, because you don't know who to trust. You really don't know who to trust. You don't. You just don't, especially if you've been involved with Baptist, IFB, independent fundamentalist, and you look into these people. They're horrible. The cults are just horrible. We got a lot of people that will proclaim that they believe in God and that they're a God-fearing person, but then they're abusing a kid in a group home because they just got a job. They got a job, doing that type of stuff, but they say that they're a Christian person. Isn't trust and faith the same? Trusting somebody and having faith. I kind of don't have faith anymore. I kind of just roll with the punches, because, also faith without works is dead. So I can have all the faith I want, but if I don't put the work in to try to change something or change something about me, then that faith just goes out the window. It's meaningless. It's meaningless. But faith without works is completely dead. Yes. So before I get off here, because I've been on here now an hour and 33 minutes and 46 seconds, and I have got to go see, or I have to go pick up my daughter. Yes, the system made it so easy to get together. Yep. The system, the system can take your kids. You can have the most cleanest house. You can have, food in the fridge. They can have 1,000,001 toys, and they have a nice bed to sleep in. They have a shower, soap, everything they need, right? Every necessity, and the system can still take your kid. The system can still take your kid, no matter what. Well, I mean, I can't help what other people say, but I get it. No, she said trust is carnal, faith is spiritual. Well, I appreciate that, Yamaha Bill, but I'm on a whole nother, level of content. working on myself, continuously working on myself. Does it mean, because I've been going to therapy, does it mean, okay, now that I'm back on YouTube, stop going to therapy? No, absolutely not. Continue going to therapy, continue working on myself and trying to better myself, and, in any kind of way. Because there's never not room for improvement. There's always room for improvement with anything. I get it. Oh, my bad. I probably wasn't looking through my bifocals right. If any of you are interested in this, look up the Bethel Boys in Lucedale, Mississippi. Look up what those boys went through. And also, Alan Knoll, he wrote a book called Surviving Bethel Boys, I think, or Bethel, I believe. I'm not sure exactly on what the name. I think it's Surviving something Bethel. Yeah. I actually have had conversations with Alan. He's a very nice guy. Very, very, very nice guy. I mean, Herman Fountain was a disgusting individual. And I don't, he can never work around any more kids now, but he has supposedly some type of adult rehab going on now. So, like, I would definitely, I'm going to get the name of that rehab, and I'm definitely going to put it up in my community post. So anybody in the Lucedale, Mississippi area, if you're looking to get treatment, stay away from this person. Stay away. What do you mean, McCarney Manor? I guess you retracted it. No, yeah. But Yamaha Bill, how do you feel about how those young boys were treated? Alan was like 10. I think he was 10 years old when, he was 10 years old when he was brought there. And then also remember we have Agape in Missouri, which was closed, like I said. And then I don't know if anybody is familiar with the Householder case, where one of the daughters actually came out and exposed what her father and, what her family was actually doing. And it's now going to trial. And I'll tell you, I hope they throw the book at him. McAnees Phillips. What about McAnees Phillips? I'm not too sure. I haven't checked into that. I've been really devoting a lot of my time, like my therapist told me to do, is to connect with other advocates, other survivors in the Missouri area, and set up protests, set up events where people can come and have their voice heard. That was my biggest problem. It wasn't, what was going on a while back was I was wanting to talk, but it's what I was talking about when I should have been talking about this. And I just couldn't, though, because I fell into a trap of allowing myself to become more manic. Also, depressed, angry, alone, isolation, not trying to find better for myself. And now, instead of doing that, I do better things with my life. I spend time with my kids now. I do the things that I'm supposed to do as a father and as a normal human being. I'm not that person that, I was putting off to being, and that's another thing is, with foster kids is a lot of us, we come out of the system and we have a hard time with friends because we want to fit in somewhere. We want to fit in because of all of that other stuff that had happened to us as children in the system that diverted us towards just trying to jump in anywhere and just fit in anywhere and get into trouble and end up in jail and then end up in prison and then end up on drugs and then almost end up dead. And some kids are dead. We're here. Some kids got out and they ended up taking their own lives. No, the mamas and the papas. I'm not too sure. um, no, it's nothing about preaching, man. It's just about putting a message out. That's all it is. It's about putting a message out. And letting the world know that I am no longer silenced. I am unsilenced, and that I will not stay silent for anyone. I'm a voice of one of those kids that lived through terrible, horrible things in my childhood that I'm working through still to this day and always will have to work on that. Otherwise, I will go off the deep end. I'll start drinking again. I'll start drugging again. I'll start doing things that I should not be doing. And you know what? I'm at a point now where I realize it. I have no excuse. I have a therapist. I have somebody to talk to. I have a group of friends that are survivors. And we talk. We discuss this stuff amongst one another. And, I'm looking into trying to reset up this StreamYard. That way I can get other survivors. So if you're a survivor out there of the troubled teen industry, of the cash for kids ordeal, the foster care system, being legally kidnapped, they say, being legally kidnapped, definitely contact me on here. Or on Facebook, you can contact me at Rocko Fowler, spelled ROCKOFOWLER, and you will find me. Right behind me is on my page. The back wall is says I think shut down Missouri Baptist Children's Home. Boston, LOL. Tommy Brady. Boston. But yeah, so if that's you, definitely contact me through Facebook, and maybe we'll set up an interview, and maybe we'll just get on and talk. You know, I have Zoom, so we can do it through Zoom, Skype, and I want to branch out. So that's it. I'm not here for drama. I'm not here, for a clown show. I'm not here to talk about other people like, I was doing in the past. And, but now I'm just me, myself, and I. That's it. That's who I am. And whatever type of that I put out, it's just going to be positive. So that's all you're going to get from me is positive content. That's it. I'm not going to put out negative content. But anyways, guys, I've been on here going on almost an hour and 50 something minutes, close to 50 minutes. So I love you all and have a good day. And remember, if you're a survivor, speak up, tell your story, tell the world what you know, because you never know who's listening. They might hear it and they might contact you and they might be a helping hand to your cause or to what you're trying to accomplish. Remember that. Get your story out there. Let yourself be heard. You're going to have people laughing at you in the comment section. Act like it's not even there. That's all. Just act like it's not even there. They're not there. They're just watching your mouth while you're speaking. So continue to tell your story and let them laugh all they want. But I'll talk to you all later. Much love.
I just arrived in country. Can I take test now?
Of course.
I just arrived in country. Can I take test now?